And it's live! Welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We're like 20 away from 4,000, painfully close. So please do subscribe. Smash a like on the stream and the video as well if you enjoy it. And we'll get into things. Obviously, it's a Monday. Lots of the journalists are back in from their weekend breaks, but there still isn't a huge amount of Arsenal news to cover. But we will get into some things. I'll be honest, I made the stream thumbnail and title about 45 minutes ago. 15 minutes later, the question I was answering was answered by both Fabrizio Romano and XHAKA. But we will talk about it nonetheless. We'll talk about Declan Rice, Rory and Timber, what's going on, who was at the stadium today. This afternoon, the stadium was... the stadium tours were put on hold for something. What was that? Who was that? We shall see. But welcome to everyone on the YouTube stream. Rebecca, Jaden, Leo, Aliu, Ross, George, Albert, Leo, Sean, all of you. Welcome. Thank you for coming back as always. I hope you've all had a fantastic day. So let's head straight into Granit Xhaka because that is now a bit of a clickbait title and thumbnail. But 45 minutes ago it wasn't. And the reason is... the first thing that came out this morning, again, it was from quite a small Twitter account, but people jumped on it and people wanted to talk about it. And they said, despite Granit Xhaka agreeing a move to Leverkusen before the end of last season, it seems there is now a chance he stays at the club. Arsenal are now asking for £20 million for him to go rather than the £12 million discussed earlier in the season. And so there was a potential chance that, you know, maybe Granit Xhaka does stay after all. Maybe because we can't afford to go and get another midfielder on top of Declan Rice that Xhaka was going to stay. However, XHAKA came out, who's very good with these sorts of things close to the club. Granit Xhaka is edging closer to buy a Leverkusen transfer. Understand a €25 million fee. That's £21.5 million. Fee has been agreed. The 30-year-old has just 12 months remaining on his deal, so great business for Arsenal. And Fabrizio Romano followed that up by saying Granit Xhaka has an agreement with Bayer Leverkusen since May. Bayer Leverkusen have an agreement with Arsenal since May. Deal expected to be completed once Declan Rice joins Arsenal. Still waiting for the club's green light. Now, A, that's good. We know Granit Xhaka was moving on. We know we have to sell players. So it's good that that's not going to fall through. But B... 2 months ago, we were hearing that Granit Xhaka was going for £12 million, about €15 million. Now it's going to be £21 million, £21.5 million, or €25 million. That is very, very good business. And we've talked a lot about, you know, we've nailed signing people, giving new contracts to people, getting people tied down to new contracts. Looks like we're nailing bringing players in. The final step of a perfect transfer window is nailing the sales. If you can get £21.5 million for Granit Xhaka, a 30-year-old with 12 months left on his contract, that is really, really good business. That's basically, I think it's basically what Kovacic has gone to Man City for. And Kovacic is younger than Granit Xhaka, and also had a year left on his, or maybe even had 2 years left. So either way, it's very, very good business if we can get him for £21.5 million. Why is your hair green? I don't think it is. I don't think my hair is green. If it's green on your screen, that is a you issue, I believe. VV Vlad says hello, hello. Edu Remontada incoming. If that report about the Granit Xhaka fee is true. It is. And look, of all of the things that Edu has been criticised for and the club have been criticised for, sales is probably the biggest thing. We just have not been able to shift players out the door for any sort of fee. Now, part of that is because over a longer period of time, the recruitment has been poor, and the players that we've brought in have just not had a sell-on value. But there have still been players that have either ended up going on a free or whatever that we should have got money for. So for us to get over 20 million for Granit Xhaka is really, really good. Apparently, Rice has been to Colney today, but doing the medical tomorrow or Wednesday. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation at the moment around Declan Rice, around Rory and Timber. Neither deal is complete yet. We've not had a here we go from anyone yet. But we did have this from Sami Mokbel today, and Sami Mokbel is tier 1. You know, he's nearly on the same level as David Ornstein, And he said Arsenal are set to complete the transfers of Declan Rice and Yuri and Timber by the end of this week. The pending deal with West Ham over the 105 million transfer of Rice is 95% done, while there is a verbal agreement in place with Ajax for the capture of defender Yuri and Timber in a deal worth £40 million. And that's 40 million in total. I believe it's 36 up front and 4 in add-ons. So, look, it does see... there is still just that little bit of doubt, right? Until it's fully done, there's that little nagging thing of what if these fall through. I don't think they will fall through for various reasons. I think the deal with Timber has always been very amicable, and I think the deal with Declan Rice, West Ham can't afford for that deal to fall through. And there's no one else left. You know, Man City are not matching what we've done. And really, West Ham could do without it going back to square one between Arsenal and Man City again. So I think both sides of that are really pushing hard to get their own way in terms of how that deal is structured. Ultimately, West Ham are taking the piss if they want 18 months, if they want 100 million in 18 months. But David Sullivan at West Ham is being very hard-headed about it. So look, someone's got to budge at some point. Realistically, I think the burden is now on West Ham because, like I said, they cannot afford to not sell Rice this summer. And to be honest, there were a couple of and people were talking about the deal falling through and getting a bit scared about it. To be honest, the main people that were talking about the deal falling through, it was on West Ham Central on Twitter, and the people that he was quoting, one of them's just a West Ham season ticket holder, and the other is this C&H, West Ham C&H, who genuinely, I think, if I had tried to get as many things in the Declan Rice saga wrong as I possibly could have done, I'd still have got less wrong than C&H did. He is consistently incorrect. And so the sources suggesting that it could fall through and that he might end up staying at West Ham after all, it's nonsense. It is nonsense. Like A, Declan Rice is just not going to allow that to happen. And B, West Ham would be screwed if it did happen. So it's just not going to happen. Gerrard to Saudi, lol, shocking manager. Yeah, Gerrard is off to Saudi. I mean, to be fair, right? Don't get me wrong, Gerrard did badly at Aston Villa. He had done well at Rangers. He had a poor time at Aston Villa, and now he's going to Saudi. But because he's going to Saudi, he was getting a lot of abuse today. I saw a thing from Simon Jordan on TalkSport, like absolutely laying into him, far more so than he ever did for Frank Lampard. And objectively, Frank Lampard has had a far worse managerial career than Steven Gerrard. But I feel like the whole going to Saudi thing, people then want to pile on in a way that I don't think they would if he was going to the MLS or elsewhere. Apparently we're signing a mystery forward. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, we spoke about that on a stream a couple of days ago, the mystery forward. Obviously there's talks about it being Mbappe, Osimhen. I really don't think that any of those are going to come through. I even saw Don Robbie on AFTV was talking about Mbappe yesterday. We're not signing Kylian Mbappe. I'm sorry. Generally, people accuse me of being in Arsenal's pocket. The amount of times on Twitter people say that I'm paid by Arsenal to promote propaganda, to promote positivity around Arsenal. We're not signing Kylian Mbappe. That is factual info. It's not factual information, but it may as well be. There is no way on God's green earth we sign Kylian Mbappe. Chelsea taking ages for Caicedo. They are. Look, I do still hold out a slither of hope around Caicedo just because of how long it's taken Chelsea to get it done. I know it's unlikely, but if we sign Tchouaméni, would he play in the XHAKA or Partey role? To be honest, I don't know. If for example, your midfield two was going to be Tchouaméni and Rice, it's almost like they could both do either or, which you could see them rotating during a game. Which again, that sort of rotation could make it very difficult to play against for the opposition. So that is genuinely he is typically a 6. Yeah, I agree that he is typically a 6, but arguably so is Declan Rice, right? Actually, both of them are pretty good going forwards. If you're getting paid by Arsenal, then seriously, you're the reason Rice deal is only at 95% at the moment. I wish I was getting paid by Arsenal. I wish I was getting paid by... I'll tell you what, I'd like it if Arsenal could just help me get to every game. That is something I wanted to talk about. Community Shield tickets go on sale on Thursday, and unless you are a season ticket holder and you've got the PL19 trophy or better, you can't get a ticket. No tickets will go on sale to red members or silver members. You have to be a season ticket holder. We've got an allocation of about 32,000 tickets, and they all go to season ticket holders that have a PL19 trophy. So yeah, that is painful. I will presumably not be going to the Community Shield game, but it is what it is, unfortunately. I think Declan Rice's ball carrying makes people think he's an 8. I think Declan Rice can be the 8. His ability to carry the ball, his ability on the ball, the way he takes a shot, you know, the amount... 3 or 4 goals where he sort of cut in from that left-hand side and whipped it into the far corner. That's something Granit Xhaka really couldn't do from that position. What's a PL19 trophy? So I think, I believe, I'm not a season ticket holder, so I'm not 100% sure, but I believe the PL19 trophy is for going to all 19 home games last season. So if you went to all home or... I think my camera just went a bit weird then. You have to have either gone to all 19 or listed your ticket on the exchange for some of those 19. So it's either that or some people have the Invincible trophy, which means you went to every game last season. Is it back? Am I back? Let me know if I'm back. Let me know if I'm back. We're back. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. But yeah, so look, if you're a red member or a silver member, that maybe the tickets will go on the ticket exchange. I'm not even convinced the tickets are going to go on the exchange. I'm not entirely sure, but it's very unlikely you're going to get there if you're not a season ticket holder. What was that? Why was the Emirates closed today and the 8th? Club activity, but all we know. Right, so lots of speculation about why the stadium was closed. So pretty much every day you can go on stadium tours at the Emirates. This afternoon, it was closed, and it's closed all day on the 8th. Now, people speculated that the reason it was closed this afternoon was going to be for Rice or Yuri and Timber. I believe it's actually going to be for Alessia Russo, who has basically confirmed a move to Arsenal today on a free. Which, look, some people are obviously... Naturally, there's an element of disappointment that it's not Rice or Timber. However... That Alessia Russo signing is massive. It's the reverse Van Persie. It's huge. Riley, thank you very much. So yeah, I think the reason it was closed this afternoon was for Alessia Russo, but the one on the 8th, all day, to me, that's Declan Rice. To me, that's Declan Rice. They're gonna have to do something massive. They're gonna have to do something massive for Rice. It's arguably the biggest. Financially, it's the biggest transfer in our history. And I can see that being an all-day job. So, yeah, I don't think today was either of them. I think it was Russo. But don't know much about Russo. Who is he? Well, it's who is she? She is an England and ex-Manchester United striker. Very good player. And a big signing for Arsenal on a free. She left Manchester United. She didn't sign a new contract. We tried to buy her in January. We made a women's record fee bid for Russo in January. Man United turned it down because they wanted to try and win the league. They were in contention to win the league. So they turned down a record bid, and they didn't win the league. And now they're losing her on a free to Arsenal, who are their rivals. So it is. It's a reverse Van Persie. If XHAKA has to stay, would you start him over Havertz? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't start XHAKA over Havertz. And look, that's why I think £21.5 million is very good for Granit Xhaka if that's what he ultimately goes for. Rice needs a whole movie as his announcement, literally. That's what I'm saying. I think that's an all-day job. I think Rice is an all-day job. Rory, ideal starting 11 for next season. Good question. Get your ideal starting 11 in the chat. For me, Ramsdale, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko. The thing is, right, it genuinely changes depending on who the opposition are. So, against the top 6, Partey and Rice, and then Ødegaard, Saka, Jesus, Martinelli. Against the bottom 15, 14, whatever it is, the midfield would be Rice and Havertz, and then the same. Now, moving further into the season, I think you can bring in Timber at right back, have Kivior or Tomiyasu or Tierney as the left back, and have Timber as the one that inverts. But I think at the start of next season, there's really no need to change from what was a pretty successful formula for us last season. You don't need to rush players like Timber in, who I think will take a bit of time to adapt. Could we see Smith Rowe at the XHAKA position? Absolutely. If you go on my Twitter today, earlier on I tweeted a video of Declan Rice, right, where it was against Arsenal maybe 2 seasons ago. He went on this run from deep inside his own half and literally just ran through about 6 of our team. Went on this marauding run. And the point of the video really was that Declan Rice, is his pace and power when he's carrying the ball is massively underrated. But within that video, watch Emile Smith Rowe. Because Emile Smith Rowe is actually pretty much playing in the left 8 role, and he is the one that tracks Rice back, catches up with him. He doesn't tackle him, but he kind of knocks him off balance. And so I do think there is scope for that for Smith Rowe to play that role. I really do. And his ball carrying ability is some of the best I've seen at Arsenal. The way he dribbles with the ball, the way he can carry the ball. If he bulks up a little bit as well, which he's done, I do think he can play in that Granit Xhaka role. Thoughts on Tyler Adams as a Lavia alternative? I don't think Adams is good enough. I don't think his ceiling is anywhere near the same as Lavia's. Although, look, it doesn't sound like we're going to get Lavia at this point. Quite a few things today suggesting that we are potentially dropping out of the race for Lavia, and that Liverpool are really hot on him. And I think we talked about that a little bit yesterday. If Liverpool really turn their attention to Lavia and want to get it done quickly, I don't think we'll be able to compete, especially with Rice and Timber still ongoing. But yeah, I think Adams is a good player. I don't think he's good enough for us and for where we want to be. Rory, apparently Ashley Walters is filming the Rice media, or film from Top Boy. Yeah, I saw a thing about Ashley Walters from Top Boy today, but again, there's no guarantee that it is to do with Declan Rice. There is no guarantee it's to do with Declan Rice. If we miss out on Lavia, who should we go for? I mean, really, it would have to be Caicedo, and at that point, I just think there's Thuram, Fofana, but I'm not convinced either of them are actually good enough, and I'd rather have Thomas Partey. At that point. Thoughts on Belakotchap for cheap? Haven't heard any news on him leaving Southampton. You raise a very good point, because I was a big fan of Belakotchap last season. And I don't know what he's doing. Is there any news on Belakotchap? No, nothing really. That would be an interesting one. Look, a young defender that can develop. Zubimendi is an option as a replacement for Lavia. Yeah, Zubimendi's an option. I don't know. That one just feels like it won't happen. I don't know why, but sometimes you just get a feeling around a transfer when you're linked to a player and you've been linked sort of like there's never been a really solid link to Zubimendi, even though I feel like we've talked about him a lot. It just feels like one of those that won't happen. Milinkovic-Savic, another option. I felt like he pretty much had to leave Lazio this summer, but I don't know who's going to get that. We haven't done Guess the Gooner yet. No, don't worry, we haven't done Guess the Gooner. Thoughts on Edson Alvarez? Dortmund in the race anymore? Yeah, the Edson Alvarez deal fell apart. I'm not sure why, but it fell apart. I don't know. It's not someone I've really looked at joining Arsenal. Chouameni for me is virtually in the same category as Kylian Mbappe in terms of I just don't see it happening. And I've not seen like we've for the last few days we've consistently seen these links to Chouameni and Mbappe, but none of them are from any credible sources. Like it's pure speculation, mainly coming from abroad. Like the Chouameni thing today. It was like the only things that I was seeing from people tweeting it were like, according to reports in Spain. Like they weren't even listing the actual source in Spain. It's just, look, you know, we'll dismiss them on this channel until there's any sort of credibility to them. Because I feel like otherwise you just get caught up in this silly sort of song and dance around players that you just realistically aren't going to sign for us as much as I would want them to. What players should Arsenal sign next? I think realistically, the next player, one, massively depends on Thomas Partey. If Thomas Partey goes, you have to find a replacement for him. And then I think you're looking at another attacking player, but someone that's relatively young, cheap, and developmental. Only man I trust is Fabrizio. Look, there's Fabrizio, there's David Ornstein, Sami Mokbel has been very good this summer. And then you've got your ones like Team News and Ticks. But do you think Timber starts straight away over Ben White? No. No, this is something I've seen quite a lot on Twitter and stuff with people doing their starting 11s. For me, at first, at least, Jurrien Timber doesn't start over Ben White. But bear in mind, right, Jurrien Timber didn't play at right back last season for Ajax. He might have played there once or twice, but, 95% of the games he played last season were at right centre-back. So I think the idea that Jurrien Timber is going to come into the Arsenal team at the level the Arsenal team's at, in a league he's not played in, where, respectfully, most of the teams are better than most of the teams in the Eredivisie. It's a massive step up in quality, and you're going to ask him to play in a position that he doesn't regularly play in. He has played there before, and I'm sure he will be good there for us. He definitely has all of the sort of assets that you need. But that would be, there's just no need to do it when we've got Ben White, who played at that level last season. I also think we will very rarely see Timber and Zinchenko in the same lineup. Because I think they both play that they're both going to play that same role where there will be defensive frailties on their side of the pitch, but when they move into the midfield, they're excellent. I don't think you can have both of them doing that in the same game. I think that's very difficult. What is Team News and Ticks, and what do they post on? So Team News and Ticks is on Instagram and Twitter. He is basically, he's got sources very close to the club. He's not a journalist. He's not a traditional journalist. He doesn't make any money from it. And he actually normally specialises in team news. So he normally gets the team news way before it actually comes out, which helps people with like FPL and stuff like that. And he's admitted that he much prefers doing that sort of thing. But he is very good with Arsenal transfer news as well, just because of the people that he can talk to. In your opinion, who's the most underrated Arsenal player from the current team? Gabriel Magalhaes. I still see people talking about, there were people talking about Timber coming in and replacing Gabriel, which was just nonsense. I just think people massively underrate Gabriel. And also, like, the importance of what Gabriel has to do in this team in terms of winning the ball. He's such an enforcer. The way he stands on the halfway line, the way he stands on the heels of the centre forward for the opposition, winning the balls in the air, on the ground. I think his game has developed massively in terms of how good he is on the ball as well. I think he's massively underrated. Isn't Timber 3 foot? No, Timber is 6 foot tall. There is a bit of a misconception that we're signing like a 5'8" player in Jurrien Timber. I'm fairly sure that Timber is, maybe he's 5'11" or 6 foot tall. He's not as small as people have been making out. Let me find it. Yeah, he's 1.82 meters. What is meters? I don't care about meters. What is that in feet and inches? Yeah, he's 6 foot tall. There you go. According to Google, According to Google, he's 1.82 meters, which is 6 foot tall. So we're not talking about Lisandro Martinez. You know, he is poor in the air relatively, but you know, it's not as bad as people make out. Max asks, what's happening with XHAKA? He's going. There was a thing this morning that came out talking about the potential for Granit Xhaka to stay, and that Arsenal had upped our asking price from the previous agreement, and that could cause the deal to collapse. But Fabrizio and Kaya Kainak have both come out this afternoon and confirmed that he is still going, and he's going for more money than we thought. He's going to go for £21.5 million apparently, which is really good indeed. Brexit Rory only deals in imperial measurements. No, but there are certain things where, you know, 182 flipping 1.82 meters. What's that? What is that? What ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Do you think that Lavia is adequate replacement for Partey when Arsenal wants to win now? So for me, not now. Not right now. I think Lavia would need a season as an understudy to Thomas Partey. Truthfully. I think if you're talking about, if you took next season in complete isolation to everything else, you know, if you ignored where we want to go to beyond next season, and you just said, next season, you've either got Lavia or Partey, I'd rather have Thomas Partey. But it would be great for Lavia's development if we were to sign him to have Partey there and to be an understudy of him. Where do you think Walters, Nwaneri and Lewis Skelly will feature this season? I think Walters is going to be the closest to having any sort of first-team action regularly. I guess we will see during pre-season. Obviously, Walters was the only one that went on the pre-season tour with the senior team last season. So I expect he will do again this season. I still think Nwaneri is too young. I don't expect to see him much at all. But I think he'll be much more prominent in the under-21s this season. And the same with Miles Lewis-Skelly. I think we might see them on the bench a bit. The problem is, unless we get injuries, our bench is going to be absolutely stacked. There's, you know, last season there were times where we had room for academy players. Walters was there a lot towards the end. We don't have that room next season, I don't think, unless we have multiple injuries. So, Jorginho will have a huge role this season. Yeah, absolutely. I think Jorginho's role will be vital, especially that experience of you know, going deep in a Champions League, winning a Champions. I apologise. We died again, but we're back. We're back again. TikTok, what are you saying? If you're on TikTok, I'm about to do Guess the Gooner. Jump over to the YouTube channel for Guess the Gooner. Get in the chat. The link is in my bio for that. Also, if you can subscribe to the YouTube channel whilst you're there, I would be incredibly grateful. We are back. We're back. I'm sorry. But whilst we're all still here, before it gets any worse, let's jump into Guess the Gooner, the game where I give you an ex or current Arsenal player's career path without the Arsenal part in it, and you have to guess who that player is. You get an immense level of pride and respect amongst the Rory Talks Football community for winning this. And yeah, if you're on TikTok, head over. Link is in my bio. Get over there and subscribe to the channel as well. We're close to 4,000 subscribers. Very close indeed. Massively appreciate the support. Are you all ready for Guess the Gooner? Are you ready? Ready, steady. By the way, this is a short one. So get your fingers ready. This player started at Bolton. They went on loan to Bury. There you go. This person started at Bolton. They went on loan to Bury. And there we go. They've come flooding in. And the winner is on my screen. Now, we've had some debates about this before, but it is the same winner on both screens, and it is Dirks. It is Dirks. There you go. Dirks has won it. Congratulations to Dirks. It was quite an easy one. Obviously, Rob Holding We signed him for $2 million from Bolton Wanderers. Dirks won it. VV Vlad came second. SS9 came third. Nathan came fourth. And Simon came fifth. Declan Rice calling Carl Jenkinson. It was not Carl Jenkinson. It was indeed Rob Holding. That was an easier one today. Congratulations to everyone that got it. Congratulations to Dirks. Immense level of pride and respect for you for the next 24 hours until we go again. Shout out to everyone that got it on TikTok as well. Congratulations. If you're saying that you won it on TikTok, this is primarily a YouTube game, unfortunately, because I can see the YouTube chat. If you ever want to get involved, you've got to go over to the YouTube channel. Link is in my bio. Now it is time for Guess the Non-Gooner, the game where I give you a player that has never and does not play for Arsenal. I give you their full career path, and you have to guess who it is. Again, you get a certain level of pride and respect for this one, not as much as the winner of Guess the Gooner, but it's a good thing to have on your CV nonetheless. So, today's Guess the Non-Gooner. They started at Reggiana under-19s. They went to Inter Milan. They then went to Newcastle United. They then went to Wolfsburg. They went to Rubin Kazan. They went to Birmingham on loan. They went to Levante, Seattle, Shanghai Shenhua, and WHFC. There you go. Who is that player? Reggiana to Inter Milan, to Newcastle, to Wolfsburg, to Rubin Kazan, to Birmingham on loan, to Levante, Seattle, Shanghai Shenhua, and WHFC. And someone has got it. Who got it? Lots of you getting it now. The winner is... Let me scroll up to it. Jake Madderford. Jake Madderford was the first person to put Martins. The assumption is that he meant Obafemi Martins, and it was indeed Obafemi Martins. VV Vlad came second. Was that back-to-back runner-up for VV Vlad? That is unfortunate. I think he came second in both of them. Begin Galani. No, he didn't come second. Ross Lawman came third. Jermaine came fourth, and Jacques came fifth. So there you go. Jake Madderford, our winner of that one. Dirks, the winner of Guess the Gooner. Congratulations to our winners. Give them all your respect and admiration for winning. No James Sousa again. No James Sousa. He's been real quiet. Some say USADA doping agency have caught him, and he is serving a suspension. No, that's not true. He's not suspended. He's just not watching the streams anymore. So, you know, that's sad, isn't it? Anyway, get your questions in. Fire in your questions. And we've got about 10 minutes left. Saliba and Nelson contracts to be announced this week. So that's the other thing. That is the other thing. When we talk about Martins ruining the 2011 Carling Cup final, yeah, literally, one of the most painful moments. Something's frozen, but yeah. So that is one of the other things on what we could be shutting down the stadium for, is that there may also be Have I died again? I don't know if I've died again. There may also be propaganda and promo stuff for William Saliba. Saliba may well also have that sort of thing. So I don't know if Reece Nelson would. No offense to him. I am still here. Okay, fine. That's good. But yeah, there's I don't know. Saliba is done. We've had it continually confirmed that it is done, and there's nothing to worry about. We do need to slightly worry about Reece Nelson, I think. I am slightly worried about Reece Nelson until it gets announced, just because he is technically not an Arsenal player as it stands. He is not contracted to Arsenal right now. And look, he's not the only sort of player in that position across the league. You've got Wilfried Zaha is in that position with Crystal Palace. They've made him an offer that he could turn down. We've hit 4,000 subscribers. There we go. Thank you very much for 4,000 subscribers. Unbelievable support. I really do appreciate it. You're all legends. You're all absolute legends. The next target is 5,000 subscribers. So there we go. We move. Thank you very much for that. But yeah, you've got Zaha, you've got Reece Nelson, you've got David De Gea, that are all in this position where, you know, technically they don't have a club right now. And you've just got to wait and see what happens to them. How big of a role do you think Trossard will play next season? Trossard will play a big role, I think. I think Trossard will play a big role. 4K streams for 4K subs. I wish I could stream in 4K. How far do you think we'll go in the Champions League? To be honest, I think quarterfinals is a realistic expectation. I think we should be getting to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Because if you actually look at it, how many teams in Europe are there that we you look at and you think, yeah, they would beat us? None. I think the biggest issue really will be the lack of experience of those big European nights. I think that'll be something that costs us, potentially early doors. If you're coming up against a Real Madrid, a team like that, the lack of that big European night experience. But there's no way we should not get out of our group, because there's simply not a team in pot 3 or pot 4 that should be able to finish above us in the group. Is there any truth to the Tchouaméni links? Not really. It's not something that's going to happen. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for us. It doesn't make sense for Real Madrid. I don't think it's going to happen at all. What happens to Nicola Pepe? Pepe needs to get sold. There was something, I didn't write it down. There was something earlier about, Arsenal are really looking at any route out for Pepe that doesn't involve us basically tearing up his contract, paying him off massively and getting him gone. But it wouldn't surprise me if that ends up happening. No one wants to pay a fee for him. No one wants to pay him the wages that he's currently on. He's well within his rights to just hang around and run his contract down. It's unfortunate. Saudi would be the dream. Saudi would be the absolute dream. There were links to Al Nassr, yeah, but they went a bit flat. To be honest, it's one of those. Al Nassr have dropped out of the whole Ziyech thing because of his failing his medical. So that would be ideal. Where's Cedric going? I couldn't care less. To be honest, Cedric is what. Just let him go on a free. Just wherever. Is it just me, or are you sick of Balogun wants this, Balogun wants that? Just stay and fight or do one. I do agree. I agree with what you're saying in the sense that Balogun hasn't earned the right yet to demand a starting spot at Arsenal. That's the truth. Whether he likes it or not, yes, he scored a lot of goals in Ligue 1 last season. So did Lacazette. He did a very good job. He's earned the right to compete to play for Arsenal. He hasn't earned the right to start for Arsenal. And also, look, ultimately, he did that in a league. So it came out today. UEFA updated the leagues, the UEFA coefficient for the leagues across Europe today, right? The top 5, and not only have they dropped out of the top 5, they've dropped down to 7th. They're now 7th behind both Belgium and Eredivisie. The Belgian Pro League and Eredivisie, Ligue 1 are currently sat behind that. If one of our players had gone and scored 19 goals in the Belgian Pro League, I don't think you'd be looking at 50 million for them, and I don't think they'd be demanding a spot starting at Arsenal. And truthfully, that's what Ligue 1 is right now. So that ranking was for last season. It's not accurate. Well, yeah, it's based on last season. That's the whole point of the coefficient. It's based on last season. Loan Vieira or keep. Got to go on loan and beef up for me. Would rather Smith Rowe gets back to some form. The thing with Vieira is that I do agree that I think the best thing for him would be to go on loan. The difficulty is sending a player that you spent that much money on loan. It is quite difficult to do. So I don't know if it will happen. And it would really be the first big signing under Arteta where Arteta would have to admit that he didn't get it quite right. So I don't know if it will happen. Why is El Neni still here? Well, we gave El Neni another year because he was recovering from an injury and we didn't want him to be without a club, which is classy and I rate it and I respect it and I'm glad that Arsenal did it. However, he is now recovered from that injury. So for me, we should be looking to sell him. Even if it's for 3, 4, 5 million, we should be looking to sell El Neni at this point. Truthfully, do you think the Belgian Pro League is better than Ligue 1? I think they're fairly similar, is the truth. I do. Saw something that Rice was at Colney earlier. Not sure how true it is. I don't think that Rice at Colney thing was true, if I'm honest. I'd love to be proven wrong. I don't think it was true, unfortunately. Vieira needs another season. Yeah, I think you give Vieira. I think Vieira gets another season for sure. And the thing is, there is an underrated part of Vieira's game. His creativity, his ability to create something out of nothing with a pass that no one else has seen, is exceptionally good. It is exceptionally good. He just has to work on the things around that if he's going to compete. Rice cut his holiday short. Yeah, so Rice is in England. Rice cut his holiday short. There was a video of him at Mark Noble's house, or playing with Mark. We're frozen. We're frozen. We're back. We're back. Apologies. I don't know what happened. StreamYard crashed. But that was going to be the end of the stream anyway. I massively appreciate you all for watching. Getting me to 4,000 subscribers is absolutely massive. If you've not already subscribed, please do. Smash a like on it. And I will be back. I will be back tomorrow. Hopefully whatever caused this problem won't be there. But have a fantastic evening. I've got 5-a-side tonight. So, you know, we've lost the first 2 games of the season. So it started terribly. But I'll be back tomorrow. And, yeah, have a fantastic evening. And goodbye.